Good morning, folks. This is Matthew Bradshaw. Giving you a morning recap in case you're watching what I'm posting and you don't want to take all the time to watch the stuff I'm watching. As of right now, Biden says that the world is not worried about SWIFT because the sanctions that they are putting together, that the UN is putting together, that the unified NATO alliance is putting together, is far worse than SWIFT. So if it's far worse than SWIFT, why not just put it in there so that it's in addition to? Because if you do something that's worse today and it doesn't have any effect, slapping him on the wrist later isn't going to have any effect. Biden literally said we're going to look at this a month from now. Day one, it says that 40 people have been killed. 40 Ukraine military have been killed last night, at least. Biden and everybody else has been promising to do these full-scale sanctions. They're putting it off until Monday. They're continuing to do all this stuff so they can get their money out of the banks, so that all the rich folks who have the power to screw us over financially, to make the decisions that are going to do. I mean, they need to do them. I mean, I think there's a cheaper way of doing this. You take out the leader of the enemy. And if you can't do that with the pen, then you ask yourself, how many people are we willing to sit here and die when we have the capabilities of ending this or sending the strongest message ever? And why are they waiting till Monday? Like I was saying, I believe it's so that they can protect their own financial interests. The reason that they are letting Putin do what he wants to do, moving strategically, invading strategically, getting a foothold strategically, the West has basically admitted that they have already given up, that Ukraine is going to be occupied, controlled, and defeated by Russia. They literally said it. They have heart. They're going to fight hard, but they're ultimately going to be defeated. And then President Biden said, we're going to look at it again in a month. And he admitted that he expects Putin to go farther than Ukraine. He don't want to discuss how far. He don't want to discuss how much, because he's not concerned actually with his role as a leader in the world and his responsibility with the power that he has to stop this. And because Ukraine is not part of NATO, he has the moral high ground to not need to do anything until an inch of NATO territory is touched. Well, I can tell you now, there's a higher power above all this earth that's going to hold all men accountable for what they had the power to do, and they didn't do it. A lot of these choices, complacency, is causing things to not happen, that is allowing bloodshed in Ukraine, that is allowing the oppressive dictatorship to overthrow a known democracy, surrounded by other successful known democracies who are unified with a power to stop Putin, simply must make the choice to do so. From this point forward, every single person that dies is no longer just on Putin's hands. Those who had the power to stop this and chose not to do so, as they keep touting decisively, will bear the responsibility of the pain and suffering that is coming to this world. You cannot look at this in any other way. We have the power to stop him in every imaginable avenue. And we are not doing it now. Now. And I'm telling you that if I were president, we would have already done something. We would have already sent the strongest message that has ever been sent. We would have already sent enough to deter Putin's decision. So all I have to say at this point on is probably a lot, but there's no excuse for this. There's no excuse to sit in these chambers of power and do nothing. There's no excuse to sit back and watch a democratic nation surrounded by allies just not on that stroke of a certain pen. To sit there and disappear, to vanquish, to be destroyed, to be swallowed up. All those who can need to uncompromisingly act with the full power that you have been given by the Almighty God. God is in charge of who becomes leaders. And through that sovereignty of God, the goodness of God is shown and the evil of man is demonstrated. And I'm asking you, those who are in leadership, what are you going to do? And how will you answer God when you stand before him, having the option to save lives through decisive, unified action? And you will sit idly by, seemingly waiting to secure your personal interests while people die. Biden, the words you spoke the other day, and I said you did a good job as long as you kept them, you have now failed. And I hope that I am wrong. I hope that on Monday, whatever the unified decision of NATO and the West comes to be is enough. And if so, I'll retract my statement that you have failed. But right now, you have failed to act. And from the moment Putin gave you a choice to make, till the moment that you make that choice, the motivation for waiting, you will be held accountable for.